Yep, so my name's Chris, also known as mandelduck on Twitter, and I work at Zebedee. And Zebedee, we are basically a Lightning gaming startup. Um, we, we're not making games per se, we're making some sample games, but we're really focusing on making SDKs and tools for other game developers to make games. The idea being that it takes a lot of work to make a really good game, so if we kind of build the tools and help other game studios to make the games, they can focus on the game and not have to worry about the Lightning stuff. Well, we can focus on the Lightning stuff and not have to worry too much on the games. Having said that, we are making a few sample games just to kind of get the ball rolling and showing what you can do with the SDK. Today I was just going to show how you can use our SDK to make a simple Lightning game in Unity. So we have a couple of things moving with our SDK. Today I'm going to show you, it's like the easiest way to get started. We basically have a dashboard that lets you log into the dashboard, you make a game, and you can kind of get an API key. So that's kind of the easiest way. We also have some features coming to the SDK which will let you link to your own node. So if you want it to be completely non-custodial, that is coming. We also have a feature which will also let you plug into something like BTC Pay Server. So there's kind of a few different levels of the SDK. The first one is just kind of the easiest way, just for developers. They can just download an SDK and an API key and make a game simply. But then for people who want to be a bit more self-hosted, they can use our SDK to connect to their own nodes. So the one we show you today is Unity has a bunch of kind of free sample games which it kind of it uses to help developers learn how to make games. So they're pretty kind of simple games, but they're well made and they're free to download. So we're going to look at one of their famous ones, which is a very simple kind of point and click adventure game. I'm just going to show you how you can easily put a paywall into the game, and then how you can also use the SDK to send the user some Bitcoin via LN URL withdrawal. So the user can get like a tip, so the game can send the user Bitcoin. So I'm just going to start that. The first thing that you want to do is you want to head over to where are we now? Yeah, we have a dashboard, which at the moment we're in beta, but it's beta-dashboard.zebedee.io. If you go to zebedee.io, there's kind of information how to sign up to the beta, but that will give you a dashboard. And the dashboard is just a really easy tool for developers to manage their game and their wallet. So we have the dashboard has a wallet, and this wallet is what funds your games. So if you make a game, you can deposit some Bitcoin here. In any Bitcoin you send to the player will come from this wallet. Otherwise, alternatively, if you get Bitcoin from a player, like they pay an invoice, then the Bitcoin is sent here. It's pretty simple. It's you can see the transactions that are made. You can also make vouchers. So if you wanted to give somebody some Bitcoin, you can create a voucher code for them. This voucher code they'll be able to redeem in the Zebedee wallet. So we actually have a mobile wallet that's coming out in the next couple of weeks in beta, so people can try that. And that wallet will actually link easily with the games and the dashboards. It's going to be slightly gaming focused wallet to kind of make the experience from getting satoshis from a game and linking with games very smooth. But that's the wallet. And here you can create games. So I have a few different projects here. So I'm just going to create a game for today that we're going to use in the tutorial. So I'll just call it, is this a Lightning Hackday? Is it Hackday? Oh, anyway, just Lightning demo. You add a name, you add a description. Sample game.
But sharing your screen, baby.
Oh, I'm not sharing my screen, am I? Hold on. 1 second. Thanks. Can you see the screen now?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, sorry about that, folks. Yeah, so I'll just go back. So here's a dashboard. You can sign up to the dashboard by going to zebedee.io. You can sign up there. At the moment it's closed, so you have to just sign up and we'll get in touch with you to give you access. Okay, so here's the overview. There's a wallet which kind of funds your games, vouchers I mentioned before, list of transactions, and here we have games. So let me go back to just making a game. Let's call it sample game. You have to bear with me. I cut my finger open yesterday, so my typing's a little bit slow. So you'll see a few typos there. Okay. Yeah, so you add a name, a description, you can add a photo, you can select your platform. This is all kind of metadata, it doesn't really matter what you press. Website, company, some other optional information. Then you create a game. So it's just important to mention at the moment, we have a wallet, and this wallet kind of funds all the games. What we will be rolling out in the next few weeks is you'll have a different, each game can have its own wallet. So at the moment, this wallet funds all the games, but eventually each game can have its own wallet, and that will really help you kind of allocate a certain amount of funds to different games. Let's go back to our sample game. Yep, so we've made the game. It's got some features, a list of transactions. Analytics are coming soon, but we want to go to API access here. We just want to kind of make a note that this is the API key we'll use. Anyway, that's a dashboard. It's quite simple at the moment, but it's just something you'll need to get started to use our SDK. Now, if we just go to Unity, so I'm just using, I think it's not quite the latest hub, but you can use the latest Unity hub. For people not familiar with Unity, Unity works a little bit like Node, that there's lots of different versions of Unity. So you'll have like Unity version 2019.1, and then a few weeks later Unity will release Unity 2019.2. So they have a lot of different versions going on, but what developers tend to do in Unity is if you've developed a game in like 2019.1 version, you generally stick with that version, because if you always upgrade to the latest one, it can break things, and kind of if it's not broken, don't fix it kind of thing. So the Unity Hub is it's a way to manage your different projects with specific versions. So you can see I've got a few different projects here, and each one uses a slightly different version. That's what the Unity Hub is. So if you're new to Unity, that's kind of what the hub is. So I'm just going to make a new project. And for this project, I'm actually going to choose version 2019.2.1. The reason being, the adventure game that I'm using as a sample, it doesn't work with the latest, like 19.3. Unity have to update the adventure game, which they haven't done yet. But nothing really, like 99.9% of the functionality is the same. So I'm just going to create a new project. I'm going to call it my sample game. And I'm going to click create. And that will take some time just to make that. Go. I think I've actually got something like a 32 core PC or something stupid like that, but Unity doesn't seem to make use of all the cores, so it can take a while to load. Okay. Should appear in a second somewhere. Well, oh, here we are. Here we go. Okay. Yeah. So if you make a game with Unity, this is generally kind of the default scene it opens. It dumps you in a sample scene. So scenes in Unity, a scene is basically, I guess it's kind of like a level, I suppose. It's game development is a little bit, they use the same terminology as like filming or movies. You'll have like a camera and you'll have a light and a scene, because a game is really just a kind of an interactive movie. But this is a sample scene, which is just like an empty scene. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is go to the asset store. It's quite something about doing a live stream during this crisis is you develop a cough. I'm sure it's like a psychosomatic, but there we go. So the asset store is it's like probably the best feature of Unity. It's where you just search for assets. So you can search for character models, you can search for something like, you know, a rock or a tree. It really speeds up development. If you want to make a game, say you want to make a fighting game, and you don't want to have to spend time making a whole village or something like this, or like a whole town, you can go to the asset store and find like a free town that somebody's made and just like download it and put the 3D models in, or you can find some towns or some models which are paid for, which are quite good quality. And this really helps up, kind of speeds up development, you know, because 3D modeling can take a long time, and if you want a tree in your game, you don't want to spend like 2 days modeling a tree when, you know, you can just find a tree that someone else has made. So I'm going to search for the adventure game asset. Here we are. So it's completely free, and I've so normally you would have to download it, so that could take a few minutes, but I've downloaded it before, so I'm just going to click import. And I'll take a few seconds. Yes. While that's importing, I'm just going to go back over to the dashboard. And if you go to our dashboard, we also have this button here, which is API documentation. So we have a Unity SDK, but we also have a complete kind of REST API. So actually, you don't have to use the Unity SDK in Unity. You can actually use the REST API, albeit it's a little bit more complicated. You have to write all your own HTTP requests. So our SDK is kind of a wrapper. But if you're making games outside of Unity, like in Node, or you want to access some of the features from your server and not directly from the game, you can head over onto here and see our REST API, which basically kind of, you know, has everything you need. Create a charge. A charge is basically what Zebedee calls an invoice. So we call invoices charges. They're the same thing. Yes, the idea being that for non-Bitcoin savvy developers, a charge seemed to be a bit more intuitive than an invoice. So yeah, so we have like full documentation here of how to create invoices. You can choose your language. C# is what Unity uses, so if you wanted to do it without the SDK, you could probably use the sample code here. But we've also got like JavaScript and Node. Some people might find useful. Okay, there we go. Okay. Import this. Yeah, it's taking a few more seconds. So Unity actually has a bunch of good sample games. So we chose this one initially, but we have a few more coming out. We have one which is like a Mario Kart type game, which is, I think, an interesting one to play around with lightning. And they also have a sample game for like a first-person shooter. So if you wanted to do something similar to what Donna Labs are doing, or what Satoshi's Games are doing with Light Night, it's a good place to start. Okay, now I just need to reload. There we go. So our adventure game is imported. So what that basically means is just added all the files from the adventure game here. So we no longer want to go to our sample scene. We just want to go to scenes, and persistent scene is kind of the adventures game kind of main scene, or its starting scene. So we just click play. The game should build, and we can try it out. There we go. It's a very kind of simple game. It's basically like the old point and click games like Monkey Island or what's the other one? Grim Fandango, things like this. The point of the game is to kind of get through the security gate, but you can't do it because the security guard won't let you. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to add a paywall to this game. So before you play, you'll have to pay some Satoshis. Let's have a look at that. Okay. One thing just before I continue, all this tutorial is on our website somewhere. Yeah, it's all documented here. There's a video guide as well which will explain what I'm doing. So after this, if you wanted to go more in depth, you can check it out here. Anyway, let's go to our SDK. So we want to go to the Unity zebedee.io and go to the Unity SDK. Go to Releases. And we just want to download this Unity package. It'll be downloading there. Once downloaded, we go back to our Unity editor window. We go to Assets and Import Package, Custom Package. And we just choose the SDK here. Just take a second to import. More seconds. There we go, that's imported. So that would have put a bunch of files here. So it's added some extra scenes. So here is a Zebedee scene. This is just basically a very simple kind of sample of how to use the SDK. You can just make an invoice here, and here it just makes a withdrawal request. You can see here we have a BTC Pay scene. So this is the scene which will show you how to link to BTC Pay. But let's just ignore that for today. Today we want to focus on how to use the Zebedee SDK. So that's imported. We can go back to our persistent scene. And the first thing we want to do, so we're going to make a paywall that people can pay. So we just need to create the UI for that. So we click on our canvas and we want to make a panel. A panel is just like kind of an empty UI view. Inside here we want to make an image. So this image is what is going to display a QR code. So I'll just resize that, make that a bit bigger. Center it. And we're going to create a text object. There we go. Just center that. Make that a bit bigger. Change the color to white. Just move that under the QR code. This is just going to display some text to the user. Okay, that's all we need for the UI. Obviously, you can make the UI as complicated or as beautiful as you want. This is just to basically show the QR code. Next, we want to click on the scene controller object. So this is the main kind of class that controls this scene. So we just need to double click on this, edit script, and that will let us edit the script. And this is where we can start to plug our UI into the SDK. There we go. So in the interest of time, I'm going to do quite a bit of copy and pasting. Just to briefly go over this. In Unity, every kind of script has this start function, and the start function is, as you can probably understand, is what's called when the script loads. So this is kind of anything you want to do when the script loads, you put in here. So we're just going to copy and paste some script just to change this a little bit. So if you go to the GitHub, there's actually an appendix for this tutorial, which just has a bunch of code here. So we're just going to copy and paste some code for the scene controller. Let's go all the way down to here. Which one will we? This one. Yeah. I'm just going to select all and paste. So this actually hasn't changed that much. Most of the functions are the same. All we've done is we've imported some SDK libraries. So we've imported the SDK. We've imported something that lets us make a QR code. We've also added some public variables here. So one is the QR code image we mentioned, the QR code text. We also have a property which will let us set the gameplay fee, so how much it costs to play the game. And if we have a look at our start function again, the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to just update the text, and we're going to instantiate the client with the URL and API key. Then it's going to call pay for a gameplay, and here we are creating a charge or an invoice, the description of the charge and the amount in Satoshi that the invoice is for. And then we create the invoice, passes the result to handle invoice. We get the invoice data, the Bolt 11 request, and we make a QR code with that. We subscribe to the status of this invoice. If it's completed, we can show a paid image, and then we can continue to load the game. And if it's not completed, we can kind of handle the error here. So that's basically a very simple way just to show an invoice and then kind of load a game. I'm just going to save that and go back, and here we go. We can see that this is updated with the field for our API key, our URL, our QR code image, etc. So it's going to start to plug this in. So we're going to drag our panel we made here. We're going to drag the image here, and we are going to drag the text here. By the way, if anybody has any questions or you're not following me, feel free just to butt in at any time and I can help explain some things. We want to set the gameplay fee, so let's just set it to 100. So that's in Satoshis. And next we need to put our API key and base URL. So let's go back to our dashboard somewhere. One of these tabs. There we go. So we go to the sample game we made, and here's the key. I just want to copy that. I think that's the game we made, was it? Yeah, okay. We want to paste that into there. And next we need this base URL. So that's basically the URL for the API. This is kind of changing at the moment because obviously we're in beta, so obviously that'll change when we go to production. But you can find out what exactly that is by going to the API documentation, API reference, and it will have it here. So it's just everything up until wallet. Let's plug that back in there. Okay, and save. So basically that's all we need to do to make a paywall. So if we play the game now and I haven't done anything wrong, we should have the invoice shown, and once we pay the invoice, the game should start. So let me just zoom out a little bit. Ooh. Have I done something wrong here? Okay, let's take that out there. Try again. There we go. Perhaps I didn't save something. So now we've got our invoice. I'm just opening up the wallet on my phone, which you can't see, but I'm just paying it now. So we do have our own wallet coming out, the Zebedee wallet, but at the moment I'm just using wallet of Satoshi to pay this. It will work with any wallet. Okay. Pay. There we go, it's paid. Now that should load the game. And there we go, we're into the game. So as simple as that, you can just add a simple paywall. And this doesn't have to be used for a paywall. It can also be used for, just buying an in-app purchase or buying a game item, etc., etc. Like, could be used if you're making them more, of a type of casino game, then you could use it to pay for a play, things like this. Okay, so now we actually have to try and solve the game. This game is actually quite easy to solve. You basically have to exit the security room by going here, and we basically need to grab this coin here. We need to click here. We need to go and get some coffee from this robot. Now we have the coin. Embarrassingly, it took me quite a long time to figure this out, so I'm just going to save you that time by showing you. Now we're going to disturb this bird by trying to pet him. He flies away. He knocks these Groucho glasses off. We pick them up, and that's all we need to trick the security guard. Go back to the security room. Okay, now if you look, apparently we're impersonating this guy, Frank Jobsworth, the employee of the month. So you speak to the guard. Yeah, I'm not sure what the coffee was for. Maybe it's for later anyway. And then, yeah, we've opened the security gate, so we've won. What we want to do here next, we're just going to add a withdrawal code, QR code that people can scan with their LN URL enabled wallet, and they can get a reward. So this currently works. It works with Wallet Satoshi. It works with Breeze. It works with Blue Wallet. I think also Phoenix. I think most wallets should support this feature, but not all Lightning wallets do. Let's have a look how we're going to do that. So we go back to our sample game script. Below our paywall code, an invoice code, we have another function called do withdrawal and handle withdrawal. This is very similar to the create invoice, but it's just the opposite side of the coin. Here we make a withdrawal request. We have a description. We have the amount in Satoshi, which is total sats. That's basically, total sats is, at the moment, it's just the gameplay fee sats. So obviously this total sats, you can, in your game, you would tally it up based on gameplay, how much they've earned. So we make this withdrawal object, we pass it to the client, withdrawal async. It handles the result with handle withdrawal. We get a withdrawal response. We get the request, so this is a typical LN URL request object. We use that text to make a QR code. We subscribe to the status. Once it's completed, we just show like a success image. And that's it. That's all you need to do to add withdrawal feature. One thing we will need to do a bit differently is this invoice, this create an invoice code, that was called on start, so it makes sense when the game starts we want to call it. We want to call this once the player has kind of opened the gate. So we just need to look at the adventure code game script and see what event triggers that, so we can call out a withdrawal. So obviously this will be different depending on the game, but for the adventure game we need to go to well, first, where do we need to go to? The security room. Yeah, that's good. We need to go to the security room scene. So this is the scene that handles the security room. You can actually see, here we go. It actually looks like, director's set. So here's our here's the camera. That's just a fake camera. This is our camera that's displayed on the screen, and we can see the models here. We go to this, I think it's the laser grid interactable. Yep. And it has this beams off reaction. So this is basically, once the beam is turned off, it basically triggers a reaction. So once that happens, there's like an audio reaction that happens, a text reaction. So I think that shows the you win. The audio, I guess we didn't hear that because audio is muted. We want to basically add a reaction here which will kind of trigger our withdrawal. So we just need to make a couple of scripts just to get this working. So we need to go to Assets, Scripts, Scriptable Objects, Interaction, Reactions. immediate reactions. We just need to create a script here, which again, it's all in the appendix. So I'm just going to copy and paste it just in the interest of time. ln URL reaction. So we're going to make a script here, create new script. Yep. Now we're going to get the code for that script. It's not a lot of code, it's just a few lines. Copy it. We want to go here and just replace everything. Let me see here. Okay, yeah. So basically what this does is this it finds object of type scene controller. So that's our main class here. And so that would be existing in memory at this point. And then once the reaction happens, we call do withdrawal, which is here. You also need another script just so we can interact with the script in our editor window. So for this, we want to go to editor. I think it was reaction editors. I think it's here. So go back to our appendix again. I want to just copy this. Create a new script. And we just want to copy this code here. All this code is quite superficial. It just basically gives us some. Hello? Somebody? Did somebody say something? Okay, continue. We'll just save that. So if we go on our beams off reaction, this should let us, there we go, add our reaction here. There we go. So that last script was just basically lets us add it in our inspector editor view. And that's all there is to it. So now once the beams are turned off, it's going to call this ln URL reaction script, which then calls the withdrawal object in scene controller. And that creates a withdrawal object with the number of sats. We create the QR code from the response, and we subscribe to its status. If it's completed, we show success. And if it's not, we handle that accordingly. So let's go back to our persistent scene. Save that. Yep, and let's play the game again. So we're going to have to pay the invoice. And now you can hear the sound. Turn that off. Yep, let's go and quickly complete the game. Grab the coin. Get the coffee. And annoy the bird. Grab the glasses. And head back to the security room. No, don't talk to the fish. And once these open, we should get a withdrawal. Once we exit, we should see the withdrawal object. There we go. There we go. So I'm just going to scan this. If anybody has a Lightning wallet on them, I could give you a few seconds to try and scan it yourself. If not, I'm going to grab it in about 10 seconds. It's only 100 Satoshis worth. Okay, somebody grabbed it. Yeah, wow. Okay. Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, so that's all there is. And now the player has got some Satoshis. And that's basically how you can add the Lightning kind of pay, invoice, and withdrawal into your Unity game. It's that simple. Go back. Where's my... There we go. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, I can answer your questions. Just feel free to butt in any time. I would just like to point out just a few caveats. If you add a withdrawal feature to your game, i.e. the game can send Satoshis to the player, you do have to be careful of, people can try and decompile your game and try and hack your game in order to claim more Satoshis than they've earned. So just using our SDK won't protect against that, because obviously every game's a little bit different. For example, if you have a simple game like Pong, for example, somebody could write a script that records their screen and is watching where the ball is bouncing and can program the screen to tap the screen and always win. Once your game gives away Bitcoin rewards, it does give that incentive for people to try and hack it. And this is a big issue in gaming. People have been doing this for a while. There are ways to mitigate it. The Unity Asset Store has some kind of anti-cheat tools. Also, we're adding some features into our dashboard just to help you mitigate that. For example, you could add limitations. Your game wallet only has like $100 a day, or if all that money is withdrawn too quickly, you'll be able to get a notification to add some more wallet in later. Otherwise, for example, if you have a game and you put like $1,000 of Bitcoin into the wallet, and then somebody finds an exploit in your game and they steal all the $1,000, that's not great. So there'll be ways to kind of stagger that and add a little bit each day. I make games myself using the SDK, and I have a few different ways to mitigate cheaters, which is not. This is kind of a problem in gaming in general. So people have this issue with trying to fake their leaderboard score. So if you were making a game that would pay the user Bitcoin and you want to find out how to mitigate it, the best place to go is to join our Discord, which will be somewhere on our website. And then, myself and some of the other developers can just kind of give you some advice, or we can talk through ideas on how to help that. Discord will be somewhere. Where's the Discord link? I think just search for Zebedee Discord. Nope. Yeah, it'll be, if you just Google Zebedee Discord or follow us on Twitter, there'll be a link there. So Discord is, I think for people who don't know, it's kind of it's like gamers use this instead of Telegram, I guess. It's what they use to chat and talk on. Yeah, it's great. Okay. Thank you for joining Fusion 44. Anybody has any questions, just feel free to jump in. If not, I'll just be rambling on about a few things we're going to be added to the SDK. So like I said before, we're going to have support for linking to your BTC Pay server and also linking to your Lightning node. It'll be LND initially, but then we'll also look at adding stuff like C Lightning later. We also have some other more interesting features coming. So obviously I just showed you the basic features of paying an invoice and sending a tip to the user. We also are going to have some cool features that will allow you to stream Lightning payments. So for example, if obviously scanning your QR code and paying an invoice kind of slows down the experience of streaming payments. So we're working on a proposal for LN URL, which will allow that to be a lot smoother. So for example, if you have like a fighting game or like a first-person shooter game, and every time the user shoots a special gun, you could have like a special gun that costs like a few Satoshis to send to shoot a bullet. Every time the user presses the trigger, then that would connect to your wallet and basically make an invoice and pay an invoice without you having to press confirm or to scan. It's a little bit similar to allowances that Will O'Byrne was doing on Lightning Dual, the web browser, where you'll basically have a wallet and you'll link it with a game, and then your wallet will show something like, give permission to this game to, you know, charge up to $10 in the next hour without having to press confirm each time. And once you've done that, you'll just play the game, and the game will talk to the wallet behind the scenes and kind of pay and send invoices without you having to press OK or scan anything, so you can just focus on playing the game. So that's something that we're working on, and we're going to bring to the SDK, and also make a proposal so it's part of like the LN URL standard. So if you want to just kind of keep track of all this, you can just follow us on our Twitter, Zebedee. Zebedee.io. Right. And if no one has any questions, I'm just going to drop off. And thanks everybody for viewing. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the virtual conference. Okay. See you. Thank you. Bye.